Autumn enveloped the ancient city in a thick fog, behind which lay abandoned neighborhoods and pale buildings holding untold stories. In one of those crumbling structures, where rusted lanterns hung from corroded chains, I decided to start my life alone for the first time. My small apartment was on the ground floor, with narrow windows overlooking a dark alley where dead leaves drifted like tiny ghosts. From the very first night, I noticed the silence here was unnatural. Not a peaceful quiet, but a silence that felt watched. Even the rustle of the wind sounded like whispers drifting between rooms. But what truly frightened me began on the third day. The antique clock in the living room suddenly stopped ticking at 2 a.m., only to strike 10 times at 3 a.m., precisely when the soft knocking on my bedroom door began. By the fourth night, I tried recording the phenomenon. I placed my phone behind the door, but the footage was filled with harsh static, as if something was blocking the camera. Meanwhile, the real sounds grew clearer. No longer just knocking, but long scratches on the wood, as though someone was clawing at it to reach me. On the seventh night, I resolved to confront whatever was happening. I closed all the curtains, lit a candle, and hid a kitchen knife under my pillow, just to feel safe. As 3 a.m. approached, fog began seeping under the door, despite the windows being shut. Then I heard the sound of a woman weeping, faint but unmistakable, blending with the knocks. I dared to peek through the door's keyhole and saw a distorted shadow, a hunched-over man, pounding his cane on the floor in a mad rhythm. Behind him, a pale hand suddenly appeared in the dark, waving at me as if pleading for help. I scrambled back to bed and shut my eyes, but the smells in the room shifted. The stench of rotting meat mingled with the lavender perfume I loved. When I opened my eyes, my room was filled with black threads hanging in the air, like a giant spiderweb. I tried to scream, but my voice vanished. The next morning, I fled to the elderly landlord at the far end of the building. His face turned ashen as I recounted everything. He muttered, "The old man who died here wasn't knocking on doors searching for his wife. He was running from her. She murdered him after discovering his affair, then killed herself in the very room you're sleeping in. The shadow you saw is her ghost, and she thinks every new tenant is his mistress." Suddenly, I felt an icy hand grip my neck, his final warning. I packed my things that same day, but as I left, I heard a muffled laugh follow me from the window and found a note on the table scribbled in shaky handwriting. "Don't leave. I'm starting to enjoy your company." The most horriting part, a month after I moved out, the landlord called me. The new tenant had found an old photograph of a woman under the floorboards, matching my description exactly. On the back was written, "To my new lover, I'll always find you." To this day, whenever I remember those nights, I double-check that all doors are locked and make sure my shadow is the only one on the walls.